teacher who transforms both teachers and students' experiences as she revamped and reimagined our system of learning. When she steps into a room, you will immediately feel the vibes and get your entire life. Not only will you gain insight, but you will also learn how to teach with excellence and level up the skills to be the best version of yourself. So be prepared to get your notebooks out and catch all this creativity she will be throwing and find yourself in the thrones of authenticity. Please help me welcome Robin Queen Educator.
Hello. Hello. I don't know if you guys can see me. Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're hosting Brilliance on a Monday. Hi, guys. I am so excited to be here another week. And you see my little introduction, I call it little because it's not really about me, but I'm just excited that I can be used as a vessel to introduce some amazing educators who are traditional and non-traditional. And we are hosting Brilliance today with my guest. And I'm gonna let her say hello to you all first because she is ready, guys. And then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about her and we will start to flow through our program for today. And so I am here. Creating winning classrooms for thriving lives is what the theme is always, with Dr. Heather Jackson. Say hello to the people.
Hi, everyone.
Just let us know where you're coming from.
Listen, wait a minute. Before you go any further, you didn't tell me there'd be singing. I would have put up my voice. Of course, everyone who knows me is saying, please don't make her sing. But it sounded real good when you did it.
I was going to say we could have a jam session because I love to sing. Like, let's go.
I don't want anyone to, steal my shine. I don't want them to know how brilliant I really am with the singing.
Listen, I am so excited to have you here today. And I like when I read your resume, I was like, your resume. When I read your bio, I was like, this is my instructional sister, honey. I love instructional coaching. I love to make a difference. I feel like it's like the best kept secret and it shouldn't be a secret. And so today I'm so excited to hear about how you got into this work. I will share a little bit. Let me just go ahead and go and share a little bit more. Guys, we are welcoming to our stage. We get to fill another spot with Dr. Heather Jackson. We've been with all these amazing educators and she is going to be added to the spot. So you'll see her on here next week. I just get excited about that because we're changing the narrative of how we do education, right? Mm-hmm. And so our guest, Dr. Heather Jackson, she is an author, an educator, an instructional leadership coach, a program designer, and a content developer. We have so much to talk about today because I want to know how all of those things work together. And as a matter of fact, go ahead and interrupt me. Tell me about your profession a little bit there with all these multiple skills.
Well, you know what? I want to tell you how I got to this space of instructional coaching. It's really a wonderful story. I was one of the first, what New Jersey called at one point, Abbott preschool teachers. And so it was, I was one of the first teachers who taught preschool full-time in a school building after a school finance decision. And it was really impactful to me because when the kids came, no resources came with them, no materials came with them. And so I had to order materials on my own, out of my own budget, and had other people, two parents actually, who had been teachers in the Caribbean, come in and help me in the classroom. Together we created posters for the wall. We created activities for the kids to do that were grade level appropriate. And when we eventually received materials from the district for the students, they weren't on grade level. And so they didn't really help any. So again, I just had to keep on creating materials for that classroom. I was blessed because I had really amazing mentors before I started that journey. So I had Mrs. Sue Carbone in Hawthorne Public Schools, who was at one point my student teacher, She was a teacher who was my cooperating teacher. And so I learned so much from her that I was able to transfer into that classroom. And I really just got really passionate about making sure that kids had not only the right resources, but also the right teachers in their classrooms to help them succeed. And so that's really how I got here, just really feeding that passion, continuing to learn, continuing to grow, and continuing to help others.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. It's like, what do you what, like, that's your passion. What did you have to go through to get to that point? Did you feel, were you lacking resources when you were in the school? Like, what pushed you into that mode?
You know what? Just really seeing the lack of resources was the main thing. And then when I became a principal myself, looking around at my peer who were, or my peers rather, who did not know how to lesson plan with their teachers, who did not know how to read a curriculum or put curriculum together, all things that I learned in my journey, who didn't necessarily know or feel confident in giving feedback to teachers, right? Feedback that would improve student achievement. And so, one of the reasons I came out of the building, let's say, I stopped being a principal, was because I really just wanted to help principals. I figured if I know this information and I can help them, then I'd be best served being outside of the building so that I can really support them.
Oh wow, that's so wonderful. And that's what's needed. So you have all of this experience because
Yes.
you were in it, then you went out and you helped, and like, oh, why
Yeah.
is it so important to have that that like knowledge, that wealth of knowledge? Because you could have just stayed in there and figured out, like,
Mhm.
okay, but why you, and why do you educate that way? I'm really curious.
I don't know why me, because I did not call myself, but why not me, right? If I recognize that this is something that I do well, and my colleagues actually also asked and encouraged me to assist them, then that for me was a stamp of approval from my peer group. And so I said, yeah, let me do this with you and for you. And it was really an honor to work with people who had, when I became a principal, I was leading or helping to lead and support people who had been principals for longer than I'd actually even been in education. And they were very open to learning. And when you ask about how I got to this place, investment in myself, investment in professional development, not waiting for a district to send me to a professional development session, really being a member of groups like ASCD, and looking into catalogs and seeing, oh, there's a conference coming up. And if it's on instructional coaching, I'm going. If it's on curriculum mapping, I'm going. Like, whatever it's on, I'm going to make myself better. Right. And one of the things that I always say is, when the principal gets better, the teacher gets better, the kids get better. And let me tell you something, when you're the principal, when you're the building leader, yeah, it's so important that you are at the top of your game, instructionally, that you know what's going on in your classrooms, because then you can support your teachers.
Oh, wow, listen, I had to put that up there because usually I jump to that later on, but I love that you said that because I feel like that is the anchor, right? It is a ripple effect. You
Yeah,
are the bomb.com. I'm excited. I love a
thank
few
you.
things that you said that I want to highlight for the audience.
Mhm.
Number one, guys, if you are here, I need you to show some love in the chat for my guest, Dr. Heather Jackson. First of all, if you have been frustrated, you have been feeling stuck, you have been feeling like, I wish things would change in the education system. Why not you? I love that. Why not you? We don't have to wait for a system to get us together and wait and just say, "Oh, this is a horrible system." What I love about you're proactive, but then you're also just active in your own development and growth so that you can help others. I love how you said invest in yourself. And
Yeah,
so invest in yourself so that you can
invest in
do
yourself.
things with and for people. I love that. Those are some
Yeah,
amazing points because a lot of times we're just told, I've been in the school system for like 17 years. And then before that was in education. And
Yeah.
I've always found that we have just been told what to do and how to do it. And then we're not happy. We're losing
Yeah.
our passion. We're not getting better. We're just going through the motions. We're getting bitter, actually. And so what you said here today is on point. She's coming out the gate, guys. I need you all to, even if you're on the replay, push the hashtag replay. I love it. She's coming out the gate with some wonderful things for us. Thank you. We have,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, that you're proactive.
Mhm.
I
You
wish
have
that
to.
I learned.
You have to be proactive. I waited for my district to send me to professional development. And in some ways, that's not fair to the district, right? As a professional, as an adult, as someone who knew the areas that I needed to get better in, it was unfair for me to wait for someone else to say to me, well, go to this PD on how to, I don't know, unpack standards or something like that, when I knew I had professional development money that I could use and I knew exactly what area I needed to get better in. So yeah, I'm very proactive and I did it myself. I put in the paperwork to go to the workshop, to do the training, and when I came back I actually implemented what I learned. And so we can do it, guys. We can change the face of education one teacher at a time, one student at a time, one principal at a time. We don't have to sit back and say, this isn't working. If you know it's not working, change it. If you know
Mm,
it's not working, change it. That's it.
mm.
That's it.
Yes.
Don't get
This
me
is
started. I'm telling you, I'll get everybody.
you started. I need you to keep going. Because
I
this is,
believe in change. I believe in change.
and how can we change if we won't change ourselves first, right? And if we don't
Yeah.
get better
Yeah.
first. And then ultimately, Dr. Jackson, like, how do our children know that change is possible if they don't see us doing it? And we want them to
Exactly.
change. Talk to us a little bit
Exactly.
about the effect even going further, that has on our students.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't even know if we realize the power of modeling, right? Just allowing our students to see some of the things that we struggle with, and then seeing some of the things that we overcome. So when I was actually going through my doctoral program, writing my dissertation, I was actually also an English writing teacher. And I don't know what I'm like now that I think about it, it's like, what were you thinking? However, I was grading up to 150 papers a week and still writing a dissertation. And every time I turned in a draft of my dissertation and I got feedback and it had red ink all over it or whatever, right? I would share it with my students. I said to them, Stephen King had an editor. It was way back then. I don't know if students nowadays know who Stephen King is, but that's not the point. So I said to them, like, everyone has an editor. So when I give you back your paper and I say to you, change this to so that the author's voice is clear, right? So that I can really tell what the character is thinking and how the character is feeling and how the character is motivated. It's not because I want you to feel bad. It's because I want you to get to the point where you're clear in your writing. And then I would show them my dissertation. I'm like, here, look at chapter 2. I got feedback and now I have to do this. And it's okay. Right. So I just really think making things transparent for students, of course, grade level, right? Grade level appropriate, is so important. So important.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And we are in a series for this quarter where we really are talking about how family, it makes a difference, because I think when we have the parents,
Yeah.
the students have that feedback, that means we're also supporting the families too. So they know how to
Absolutely.
also help them.
Yeah.
That's our series now. We're thinking about non-traditional, I would like unconventional,
Yeah.
non-traditional
Yeah.
ways to really help with achievement
Yeah.
as well. So we're not only coaching as leaders when we start from the top, like you just said, we're
Yeah.
coaching the teachers are coaching the
Yeah.
students, and the students
Yeah.
are even coaching the parents, and the teachers are coaching the parents. It is so important that we
Yeah.
take intentional time. And can tell us a little bit more about how you involve parents and community members in your coaching
Yeah.
programs to improve that achievement?
So when we are brought in, and I mean, when I say we, I mean my team, when we're brought into a school, typically the only time that we engage with parents or the community is if the school asks us to do something. So whether or not they ask us to do a math night or a literacy night or some cultural event to support them in that. We do that. That's how we engage with the parents and with the community.
Wonderful. And it's a missing piece when we don't, right?
It is. It is. But so here's what I was thinking, right? I think that if parents begin to speak to kids about purpose,
Yeah.
and I've been thinking about this a lot lately. How powerful would it be if our students started to think, hey, there's a place in this world for me? First of all, let's start with I'm different by design, right? Whoever I am, whatever I can do, whatever my interests are, I'm different by design.
Mm,
And there's a place in this world for me. So I want those conversations to start in the home. And then at the school level, we can make sure that there is a course, there is a time in the day for students to really explore what does that mean? So if you want to be a makeup artist, what does that look like? First, I encourage you at home. I buy you makeup if I can. I buy you a game, give you time to practice that. And then when you come to school, there's a class that teaches that for you. So I want us to really explore what it would look like if we really started talking to kids about purpose.
yeah.
You're different by design. You fit in this world. You don't have to worry about what someone else looks like, what someone else is doing on social media, because you are unique and you're talented all by yourself and you have something to offer as well.
Mm, I love it. This is I love it. This is even this show is different by design. Like
Yeah,
seriously, it's
yeah,
designed to do exactly what you just said. And I'm trying to model
absolutely.
that. I'm trying to model that make your own way because but get coaching and support
Yeah,
from home from school along the way because who you are does matter what you bring to the table although people may say I haven't seen that before that's actually a really good thing we should be
yeah,
saying that to our students so I appreciate you saying that like in at home rehearse that you are different it's okay
yeah,
so when your students or your children are coming home you're not saying oh you need to be more like like or even comparing to your sisters, brothers, all that. You need to
yeah,
no. You need to be more like you, but the best version of you. So let me help you get there. What
absolutely.
is your teacher
Yeah.
saying? What
And
is
you
your
know, some of the most impactful educators that I've worked with have been different.
yeah.
So they've been the ones who've thought outside of the box. When I think about working in Patterson Public Schools in Patterson, New Jersey, we had Professor Les, this white guy with big hair. He looked like Albert Einstein, but the kids loved him.
Wow.
And he just taught his own thing. He didn't go off script, but it was his books were different and they were thoughtful. He read An American Tragedy, one of my favorites. And kids
Mm,
were just really encouraged to be expressive and to make sense of what they were learning in their own creative way. We had Sarah Williams, so many people, especially I could think of at Patterson Public Schools and even in Trenton, where I worked in Trenton Public Schools, that were different and engaged kids differently and were successful because they did it.
mm. Guys, if you are just tuning in, I just want you to welcome my guest again. Give it up. If you've been listening to these amazing nuggets that she's been giving, she's coming out the gate. She's not wasting any time, honey. Listen,
We don't have time to waste.
we don't
We
have
don't
time.
have time to waste.
That is it. Let's go there. We do not have time to waste,
Yeah,
right? Like I think
absolutely.
we talked a little bit about that in some of the things that you've written. We said some things beforehand. We don't
Mhm.
have time. Time is fleeting, right?
Yeah,
That's what I heard. I think that's what I heard. Time is fleeting.
yeah,
So in that time, how do you make the best use of it to educate the best that you can? Because people don't. Not a lot of people understand what it means to truly. Number one, what teaching really looks like,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
number two, to educate. And so,
yeah,
I always ask this question: how do you educate? And it's really important that you bring in opportunities and you
yeah,
showcase how different people are moving about and living their lives and being successful, so that our
yeah,
students, especially our Black and Brown students, who have been historically marginalized, and let's go there a little bit. I do want to say, how do we coach teachers to provide opportunities for and to really educate
yeah,
authentically? In
yeah.
your opinion?
So, if we're talking about our Black and Brown students, we definitely want to make sure that not only do they have resources that are written by people who look like them, but they also have resources that are written by people who sound like them. Characters in a book look like them, characters in a book sound like them. When I've seen books where there are characters who are speaking Spanish and English at the same time, right? So just really making sure that not only that kids are exposed to teachers who look like them, but that
Right.
the resources that they are reading and writing from also look like them, and encourage them and have some of the issues that they're dealing with, right? So let's read about Black Lives Matter in a book. Let's read about immigration issues in a book. Those are super important. Then a student knows, oh, okay, I matter. Like my stories in this book. This is important to me. Let me tell you, speaking of stories, I got to tell you this one. I'm from Jamaica. I remember reading in my math book in Jamaica, and I can still picture this math book. It had a question. Now, first of all, we know how we feel about those math questions, word problems. Why did this question ask a Jamaican kid if a train leaves Chicago at 6:15 and some other things like what time does it get to New York? I didn't know what Chicago was. I didn't know what New York was. I know how how long it was going to take the train to get there. So that was so inappropriate and culturally irrelevant to me at that time. So we definitely need to make sure that students are exposed to culturally relevant materials. Again, why am I reading in Jamaica about two trains or one train going to places unknown? And then
Come
don't
on.
talk about the question that asked me about snow that I had never seen or felt at that point in time.
Wow. Oh my God. Listen, I have so much to say about that, but you're
I'm
not
sorry,
ready.
y'all. I had a bone to pick with the people who gave me that math textbook.
Come on. This is why. So I had on the screen here earlier, like how do you educate? And Dr.
Mhm.
Jackson just really shared to us, like, guys, even those simple things that you think like, oh, let's just this is for everybody. It's not. Know
Yeah.
your children because they have a journey. Do
Yeah,
you know their journey? How about putting their voices on center stage, right?
absolutely.
And getting them to understand that you can tell your story because you're actually teaching other students in the classroom, right?
Yeah.
But we're not going to have a one size fits all, end all be all. This is what we're learning. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not anymore. We have to stop. We have to stop. So I appreciate you guys in the chat that are sharing. I'm going to pause for a second and just look at some of the comments. I'm here. I'm saying culturally relevance is critical. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
not just a term, because guess
Mhm.
what, Dr. Jackson, you can attest to this.
Yeah.
It's become like a word of like, what are the words that they call it? Just something that people say in
Oh
education.
yeah, buzzwords,
Buzz,
buzzwords,
there we go.
buzzwords, buzzwords.
All these
Yeah.
buzzwords, cultural responsive teaching, and it sounds good, and people are checking off checklists,
Yeah.
and yet we're still having some of the same results.
Listen, I we have been doing professional development for, I guess I should say facilitating professional development for the last 500 years on differentiated instruction. And
Come
I
on.
still wonder if anyone knows how to truly differentiate instruction, right? So we have to get past the buzzwords and do the work of the actual strategy, of implementing a strategy. I've seen this amazing educator, a good friend of mine who's on my team, Valeriana Banday, teach students how to write stories. I'm like, wait, a third grader wrote a 5-page story. How did you do that? And they had voice. And when they read that story, they were enunciating. I mean, there is so much that's possible that we haven't scratched the surface of.
Oh,
Well, we just got to do the work.
and
We
we
have to
got
do
to
the
get
work
how to
and
do the
throw
work.
out the buzzwords, like put
Come on.
meaning back into classrooms and into teaching. Don't just use those buzzwords. Put meaning back into the work that we do, because it's so possible to educate kids. It's so possible to get your students to this next level, right? I'm so passionate about good instruction, because if you're engaging in good instruction, then you don't have to worry about test prep. You don't have to worry about test scores,
Say that
because good
again.
instruction, you don't have to worry about test scores. If you are engaging in good and effective instruction, You
Come on.
don't have to worry about test scores.
Absolutely.
The last school that I worked in as an administrator had us actually do the work. When we coach teachers, we actually had to do the work with the teachers. So if you're about to teach a math problem, you're actually solving that math problem, you and the teacher, before you teach that a student how to solve that math problem. That was
Mm,
mind blowing. I'd never learned that before. I'd never learned that before. And for me, that was a game changer
mm,
because now I'm seeing how what misconceptions a student may be maybe coming to solving the problem with.
right.
And then I can plan for that misconception, right? I can plan how I may help that student address the problem different. So
Mm,
just some real key things are what we do to help kids to really improve and to help teachers improve, because that I stole that. I was like, I'm going to do that every time I go in the classroom from now on with a teacher. It's
come
been a game
on.
changer.
I wanna challenge you all in the audience and ask you, how do you educate? And I love it. I love the fact that we can steal the things that work. It's okay.
Borrow. If you don't want to say you stole them, borrow them.
Yes.
And I'll give credit. I'll give credit. I'll definitely give credit.
Come
Mastery,
on.
I thank you. Mastery Public Schools, Mastery Charter Schools, I should say, in Philly. Thank you so much. That was a game changer for me.
Hmm.
Working with them, that was a game changer.
See, I love it. And I think that's the goal. Like, let's make it, let's normalize. And I like how
Yeah.
someone even said when you were talking about the editing processes, no, we need to start normalizing the things that are possible,
Yeah.
normalizing and putting out there and celebrating
Mhm.
people in the schools who
Yeah.
are doing some of these things instead of like these test scores, this happened, because the
Yeah.
teachers get so like, and leaders, you can attest to that as a leader. It's like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I have to put all this stuff down the line. We forget about just how we're dealing with lives, true, like people's
Yeah.
lives, little lives
Yeah.
who one day will remember all of this.
Absolutely. And we do remember, right?
Yeah.
How many of us remember our first teacher or pre-K
Mhm,
teacher or kindergarten teacher? You
mhm.
remember those things. So that's been impactful for you. That's been life-changing for you. And as educators now, we're doing that for kids. So
Yeah.
there's a student who's about to walk into your room in September or
Yeah.
in August, and you're going to be able to change their lives, right? So
Mhm.
how are you going to do that? Start thinking about that. What's your classroom going to look like? What are the walls going to look like? How are you going to welcome them? Are you going to chant? Are you going to do a high five? What's it going to look like? What's the first lesson that you're going to teach? What's that going to look like?
Mm. And butterfly read once. I leverage coaching techniques in
Yeah,
when training. Love it.
absolutely. You got to. You
Yes.
have to. And modeling is one of the most powerful coaching techniques. When you, as the coach, model what you want the teacher to do in the classroom, and then the teacher goes in the classroom and she models for the students.
Absolutely.
It's so powerful. And then you have students modeling for students. My God,
Come
it's
on.
amazing.
It's the ripple effect. It's a good ripple effect. It's like,
Yes, it is.
oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, and that's the way it should be. And that makes children want to come back to school, and we solve some of the problems of lack of engagement, right?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it's like, okay, I can do this
Yeah.
too, because I actually am seeing it. There's what is the old proverb? You tell me and I'll know, and I'm getting it wrong here, but
Man, listen, I'm having a brain freeze right now with that old proverb, but I know what you mean. I
no,
know where
I
you're
know.
going.
Show me and I understand. I think our children are crying out for that. Our
Yeah.
teachers are crying out for it. Our
Yeah.
school system just is ready for like a huge shift. Because as you were speaking earlier, it made me think about standards. So when you shared your experience about lack of cultural relevance for your journey, and
Yeah.
someone did say in there that was a really good example. Thank you. It made me think about, okay, if we're going to not really prepare for like authentic education, we're going to have to suffer the consequences of lack of
Yeah.
engagement. We're
Yeah.
going to have to suffer the consequences of teacher shortages, which
Yeah.
continuously are happening across
Woo.
the
And
nation.
that's where we are now. That's where we are now. It's teacher shortage all over, right? And so it's kind of forcing us to think creatively. How
Absolutely.
am I going to make sure that students still get the education that they need,
Mhm.
right? Because you can have standards and you have a test coming up, you don't have a teacher. That's the teacher need is greater, right? It's much greater. And so we're really forced to think outside of the box. Are we going to, in Jamaica, we had shifts. So some kids would go in the morning, some would go in the afternoon. Are we going to do something like that? Are we going to have kids come in the morning or come in the building for some classes and be online at home for other classes? I don't know, but we have to definitely start thinking outside of the box. Are we going to change the way that teachers receive certification, right? Lord Jesus, change the cost of teacher certification program,
Exactly.
or should I
Say that.
say the cost of getting that certificate from your state Department of Education.
Absolutely.
Something will have to change because we need to make sure that kids are educated.
Absolutely. Dr. Jackson, you are a wealth of knowledge, and I can
Thank
tell that you have invested in yourself. I can tell that you have invested into others, and I look forward to even learning more about your strategies. And so we can't sit here all day, and I want to, but I want you guys to know that Dr. Jackson has two books. And I love that. Oh, probably more than that. I don't even know. Talk to us about your books and your writing and some of the work that you have where we can go and listen and go deeper into to learning more about you and what you
you.
do.
Sure. So I have actually have three books, but the dissertation book I used for my dissertation coaching, and so that is actually you can't get that on Amazon anymore. So right now, what you can get on Amazon is the five things instructional coaches must do, and
Mhm.
then my latest book, Look Again, Your Life, God's Perspective, and that was really everything that I've written has been born out of experience, right? So the five things instructional coaches must do came from working with middle level managers in schools, came from working with instructional coaches or supervisors who were tasked to own and develop teachers, but they themselves had not been developed. And
Mhm.
so I had to support them, and it was a pleasure, right? Developing them, developing vice principals, developing principals,
Mhm.
especially when they're implementing a new teacher evaluation rubric. And so that's where the five things instructional coaches must do came from. Look Again, Your Life, God's Perspective really came out of me realizing, wow, I had one idea of where my life was going to be headed. And it took a whole different turn,
Wow.
right? And I mean, I could say at one point I was looking for superintendent jobs, school superintendent. I said, I'm going to be a school superintendent. And
Mhm.
then God said, ha ha, no, you're not, at least not yet. So, and now I work in a church and I'm working with our educational program and developing content and writing lessons and developing small group leaders. So I love it, and it's still education, but it definitely looks a lot different than what I thought I would be doing right now. But still loving it, and now able to go back into schools and support them as a consultant. And it's
Mhm.
refreshing when you come out of something and give yourself a break
Yeah.
and invest in yourself. It's like a healing process, right?
Yes.
So you remove yourself from something that was at once very challenging, let's use that word,
Yes.
and take a break and
Mhm.
say, let me go sit in some conferences. Let me go have someone else teach me for a change.
Yeah.
When you go back in, you're different. Your eyes are different. Your body feels different. You're
Wow.
reinvigorated. And so, yeah, what did I miss? Did I miss anything?
Oh, this is so powerful. And we're coming to a close in the next like 5-10 minutes, but because I want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you and all of that. But before I do, I want a lot of people who are who watch and follow me, and I was an instructional coach for a while, for about
Love it.
7 years, I think, and I understand exactly what you just said. Sometimes I felt like there were things just thrown at us, and
Hmm.
it was the domino effect of not being prepared from top all the way bottom, and
Yeah.
the scores and standards and failing schools and starting. Well, I'm not going to go into all that, but I was so stressed. Like wait, okay, you want me to just turn this over? You don't want me to actually coach?
Yeah.
You want me to actually just turn this over because we gotta, And I was just like, and so I think, and those of you who watch me, and a lot of you are my coaching friends too, and you go ahead and grab this book. I'm so excited. I'm getting my book. Mine should be coming in. Go ahead and get this book because I think it'll help you to really know what to look for
Yeah.
in just coming back to your passion as an instructional coach. And you are needed and you have everything you need inside of you. But I really am excited about Dr. Jackson in your book, these 5 things that we must do. And I wish I had it when I was in the system. But you're right. I end up whenever I end up following God's lead for my life.
Yeah.
I was moving up. I started as a substitute teacher, literacy coach, and went, all of those things. And I'm thinking, okay, I made it in the system, but I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
really losing myself. And when I was losing myself, I was pouring from a half empty cup. And that's not what he wanted from me. And so I understand what you mean. Then I had to come out, invest in myself, and really just learn. Even things I'm like, oh, I think I do that. Wait a minute, I know it in a new way now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I appreciate you sharing that. And so tell us a little bit about your consulting and how people can connect and get your services.
Sure. So they can go on my website, www.drheatherjackson.com. They can email me, info@drheatherjackson.com, and set up as an appointment to talk to me, and we can take it from there.
Okay, I'm putting that up on the screen, guys, and I'm also going to put it in the chat. And I'd love you to please support my wonderful guests. I feel really good today
Thank
about
you.
just being refreshed. I feel refreshed. I don't know about you all, and I thank you all in the chat. We're not done just yet, but I want you all to know that you have what it takes. Here, I'm putting this in the chat as we talk. You have what it takes to do what you were being called to do, right?
Yeah.
And it may not look the way that we think, but we are educating. Everybody is
Yeah.
educating somebody somewhere, and
Yeah.
we've got to learn to do it well and be well while doing it.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
if
Yeah.
you are principal and you are invested, you want to invest in your craft, but you're not sure where to start, give me, I was about to say, give me a call. Send me an email, info@drheatherjackson.com, or go on my website and get in contact with me. I would love to coach you, or just let's have a conversation about what could be your next. I don't want you to feel like you're out there alone, like you don't know where to start. Here's what we can do. You contact me, we will grab that leadership rubric that will be used to assess you, and then we will make a plan for how your school year will go. I guarantee you, you're going to be successful. You're going to be refreshed. You will feel like I can do this. And you can. You really can. Coaching is so important. It has, over the last month last month, first of all, I've been doing it for a lot longer than last month. However, I have dedicated myself to losing weight, a couple of pounds, over the last month, seriously, maybe 2 or 3 months. And I've been able to do it with a coach. I was trying without a coach, and I would go up and down with on the scale, and it wasn't pretty. But I've since hired a coach, and it's been a game changer. And so I'm telling you, if you're a principal and you need some help, grab yourself a coach. Even if it's not me, get yourself a coach. You won't be sorry. And the same thing goes for a teacher. Get yourself a coach, a collaborator, someone who's as invested in you getting better as you are, and you won't be sorry.
Dr. Jackson, that's perfect. You said it. I was gonna say the same thing. You said it way better. I love that. Get yourself a coach, guys. We host
Become a coach.
many, like, who do you connect with? And I think another part of coming out of the school system, for me, has to kind of get loose of all those chains of competition and all of those different things. We are all in this together, and you got to find who you are led to. But you got to find someone, because our children, time is fleeting, and our children are waiting. They want to be well. They want to thrive. They want to learn, and sometimes it doesn't look and feel like it,
Mhm.
but you can create and set the atmosphere.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Listen, and I'll even speak to what you said too around principals and people who need support. if you need coaching, one-on-one coaching for your teachers,
Yeah.
listen, reach out. Everybody educate. We do
Do
that.
it.
Like you can have a winning classroom consistently. I think sometimes we feel like we can't. It's like, oh, it's just got to be. It's the way it is. I hear a lot
Mhm.
of teachers say that's just the way it is. It doesn't. It's not the way it has to be.
Mhm. Not at all.
Go
Not at
back to YouTube, go to all of my guests, that find who fits you. If Dr. Jackson fits you, because I think she fits me, I'm like, yes, honey. I can't wait to connect you with a lot of my people that I've worked with in the past and principals, because you know what it takes there. School leaders, your teachers need
all.
coaching. And what I found, Dr. Jackson, is that coaching is sometimes an afterthought in some spaces. And
Yeah.
it's like we got to get all these resources for them, but what they don't understand sometimes. And I can speak to it as I've been a teacher for so long. When I first started, that it was like it's too much. Like it's just like I feel like I can't do anything because I'm holding all this stuff, and if I don't do it, I'm going to get in trouble. And so it's okay that we do have priorities, we have
Yeah.
standards, we have all of
Absolutely.
those things, but it doesn't have to feel like too much. We can
Yeah.
have professional learning communities that we support one another and we thrive. And so I'm thankful to you today for this. Is there
Thank
any
you.
like closing? I know we shared your message earlier. I'll keep it here. But any closing words, calls to action, anything else you want to share with my guests and our guests today?
Sure. I think it will sound just like just what I just said. If you're serious about getting better, hire a coach, someone who will help you on that road to get better. You'll feel a lot better about yourself, first of all, and you will see the difference that you want to see for both your children and your teachers and yourself. Don't wait for someone else to tell you what you already know. You need a coach? Get one. Doesn't have to be me. I'm very good at it, but
Yes.
it doesn't have to be me. But get a coach. It's a game changer.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Let me put this on back on the screen here, guys. I thank you. Today we explored some great things for Coaching for Change. We hope you feel equipped and you're ready for more. Teachers, leaders, you want to improve your school, your skills, and see that achievement. I feel like we accomplished that today. I'm hoping, because Dr. Jackson has given us lots of nuggets. Go ahead and share this out, put on the replay. If you know other brilliant and amazing educators, please go ahead and send me a message, DM me, or you can have Robin at everybodyeducate.com. You can go to www.everybodyeducate.com. Just DM us, Everybody Educate, because we are really on a mission to make sure that everybody is educating well, and we're doing it together without feeling like we have to fail. We can create those winning classrooms. Dr. Jackson. Go to her website. Go get those books, guys. Look, get those books. They're right here on the screen. You even see a picture of them up on the screen, so you know what to look for. Okay. I want to make sure you support my sister. She has wealth of knowledge that can shift and help you shift and change just like this. And so do I. And so all the people that I keep on putting up here, where I'm going to keep doing this until it changes. We will change the face of
That's
education.
right.
We will see our children thrive. All of our children, our most connected
Absolutely.
children, our high achieving children who then go into the world and feel like, well, what was the school for? How do I survive life? Like, we're going to change all of that, because we're going to take those tips of how we do educate, right?
Mhm.
And the tips that we got today. So share, guys. We're so excited. Thank you so much. We're excited now. We're going to get to add you to our wall of brilliance. We're so excited about
Thank you.
no problem. Hey, everybody, thank you for joining in and tuning in and taking your Monday night with us. And if you're on a replay, go ahead and share this and comment, just as if you're here. We will go back and check those comments. And I want to let you know we have a summit coming up. And so you're going to go to our website. We're going to introduce that this week a little bit more. It is out on our social media, but we're having a back to school summit, 3-day summit, and we want you to come. And I'm hoping that I can get some more of my people that I've been introducing to come and even be on a panel like Dr. Jackson. We haven't talked about it yet, but I just
Listen, you know I'm ready, right? I got all the energy. I am ready. If it's about instruction,
Yes.
I'm in. It's about coaching, I'm in. I'm
It's
in.
all about creating winning classrooms for this new school year,
My
and
God,
everything
let's
you're
do it.
talking about. And we will make plans with you, and you will get to connect with who you vibe with, or what you need. What is your pain point that you don't want to see from last year happening? So that's what our summit is all about. It's creating winning classrooms and how we can help you host that brilliance all throughout the year and find the brilliance in your school. I'm sure you want that. I'm sure there's nobody that I've met who's an educator who's been like, oh, I just want to have a horrible year. Oh, I just want all my teachers to leave. Oh, I want my students to fail. No, but we can help you quickly get that plan of action in place. And so I will be inviting Dr. Jackson back for that. Or even a piece of this if people can't make it. But it is going to be Labor Day week, like that weekend, that first weekend of September. So I want us to really put that on our calendar. So more information to come. Come join us next week, guys. Say bye to my guests. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all in the comments. Thank you for all of the comments. We still have some thank you. This was informative. We appreciate that. Don't forget to go and reach out. Oh, did I put that in there right? Info at
Yep.
drjackson.com. There you go. Reach out to her. She is ready and waiting. She has that energy, honey. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Bye, guys. Thank you for
Bye.
tuning in. Thank you. Bye.